Welcome to Insight Builder channel, prompt engineers, Python automators, and learners. ChatGPT prompt engineering with dataset. Utilizing datasets for customized responses. Challenge at hand. We have to engineer a prompt that utilizes a dataset that we have and responds to questions from that related to that dataset. Okay, that is our challenge. So the dataset is something like this. The data is equal to something like this. Okay, and you see that it has some columns and rows, and it has to, the prompt here, it has to refer to the data. So it is referred by using this square bracket here, and answer how many are located in the forest. So if you look at this, the answer should be 3, right? And this way we can use it in production also by referring to the data. Okay, the point here is that any data set in the real world is not just going to be 5 rows. It is going to be more than 50 or 100 or 5,000 or even sometimes even 500,000. How to work with such a huge amount of data set? In case of ChatGPT, the major challenge is that we cannot cross 4096 tokens at this moment when you give a prompt. Okay, how did I know this? Just a moment. Let me go to the Internet Explorer, and if you go to document and guide chat introduction, if you go to this link, you will see that, note that very long conversations are more likely to receive incomplete replies. For example, a conversation that is 4090 tokens long will have its reply cut off at just 6 tokens, because the maximum token that is available is 40,096. So if you give a prompt that is 40,090, then you will get only replies of 6 tokens. So you might be surprised what happened. And if it is more than 40,096, the program will not work. Okay. So in order to work around this challenge, to understand how many tokens are available in the prompt, you can actually use a library called as tick token. This tick token library, how to use it, I'll be showing it in this video also. Okay, you don't need to worry. So when you create a prompt, you engineer it, then you send it through this tick token library, you will understand how many tokens are there, and then you can use it in your use it to make the prompt reply. Okay, so let us go back to the presentation again. Now you saw the challenge that you're having and why we have to divide the data. But dividing the data can happen in hundreds of and thousands of different ways. Okay, any data set given to you, you will know what is there in the data set. You will know what is the column, what is the rows, which rows or which date the rows are important. You can divide the data set in hundreds and thousands of different ways. However, you have to divide it, okay, in whichever way you want, and then take the data set, put it in the prompt, and then first ask ChatGPT what kind of questions it can ask. Okay, take one of the chunks of data set and ask ChatGPT itself that, okay, tell me some questions, statistical, inferential, and factual questions that it can ask, and it will give you a lot of questions. So you will see that in action in a couple of minutes. And then what you can do is you can take that questions and again build the prompt in such a way that you can select the important questions that you want to answer it repeatedly for your data set. I told you are going to divide the data set, but you don't need to do that same task again and again. Now, once you set this up, Python along with its loops will take care of all the automation for you. However, what is the challenge now? You have to first of all practice, not just practice doing this activity, you need to practice Python also, and you need to understand how Python list, loops, etc. works. So for that, I already have a separate playlist where I in detail teach about the Python loops, Python basics also. That is a separate playlist in my Insight Builder channel, where the playlist of ChatGPT is there, the playlist of other, the learn to data engineer and problem solve. This has all the necessary details on the Python and basics of Python. Okay, so the point here is that you can subscribe to my channel so that you will get updates whenever I am updating the videos, like whatever ChatGPT videos or Python videos or data engineering videos that I'm uploading, you can immediately take a look at it. Now let us go back to our presentation. Okay, so I told you that you need to practice again and practice. That is very important. I requested you to subscribe. But the major point is that how to practice. Okay, so I'm telling you to practice, but how to? So this is where the next step comes. The code that is actually used in this particular video is already available for you to download at this link. Okay, in this link, if you go, the code is already available for download. Okay, this link will be there in the description. So you can take this link, and if you go to GitHub, you can download the code itself. Download the code by cloning this GitHub repo. In case if you are new to GitHub, or you might be new to Python also. So if that is the case, then what I would suggest is that go to this playlist, learn data engineering with Python, and beginning itself I have kept the basic setting up of Python, setting up of Jupyter Notebook. You can see it here. You can see this here, this Jupyter Notebook, and setting up of Python, setting up of Git. These three things, if you master, then Python is going to be extremely easy for you. Okay, just give me a moment. So with that done, let us actually go to the GitHub repo. Okay, so once you download your repo, this folder, entire repo folder will come to your local drive. It will be in your local drive, which you can use it to start working on the program. Once you download this GitHub repo, then what you can do is you can come to, then you have to fire up Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so let me go to the terminal. If you go to the terminal, you have to be inside. So you see this is actually the code area. This is the code area. You should be inside the Python DE learners underscore data folder that will be given by the GitHub repo cloned when you clone it. And you need to type Jupyter Notebook, and it will fire up the Jupyter Notebook. This is basically a Jupyter Notebook is a server. Okay, this server is what we are going to see now. This server will actually create something like this. It will actually create the folder. Just a minute, sorry. Yeah, this will create a page like this for you in your environment. It will create a page like this. You need to click on scripts and projects, and you have to click on ChatGPT notebooks, and you will see that prompt underscore with dataset. This is the dataset you have to. This is the notebook you have to open. So I have already opened it. We are going to start working on the code right now. Okay, that is going to do what it is going to do. Let us go back here. What it is going to do is it is going to do this activity. Divide the data set, and give the data set to ChatGPT. Ask questions it can ask on the data set, and then design the reply. Okay, based on the questions. So all this activity we are going to code, implement it as code. Let us go back to the browser. Now, if you are new to OpenAI libraries and ChatGPT altogether using Python, then I would suggest that you can check this playlist, where I have introduced the basics that you need in order to come up to speed with Jupyter Notebooks, Python, and ChatGPT OpenAI library. Okay, take a look at this, and then you come to this notebook. After you come up to speed, then you can start executing. So I'll be using shortcut keys extensively. So Control Enter is for running this cell. So I am running this cell, and my API key is inside this file called API data.config. If you are not aware how to use this, please refer to my earlier videos. That will actually help you out. So please refer to that. And then this is where I promised that I will show you how to use tick token, right? So all you need to do is you have to use this function. Okay, you have to use this function, and this function is importing tick token library, and it is checking based on text Davinci 003. So this is the model that we are referring to. Each and every model will have different way of encoding the data set. Okay, so each data set will have, each language model will have its own way of encoding the sentences. So you have to ensure that you are giving text Davinci 003 here, and then you can check the number of strings it comes out. Okay, so if you execute this cell, you will see that number of strings is 8. So this is my prompt from Insight Builder. So don't get confused. Here there is 4 plus 4, 8, but in some cases there might be 8 words, but the tokens will be lesser. Okay, so don't get confused. Still the answer is correct. Now we are going to get the role. So first we will start getting the role. You might be wondering, why am I getting the role? Okay, so let me show you that. Data summarizer. Okay, I've got the role. But before that, why this role is required? Let us go to the playground. If you click on this in platform.openai.com, if you click on this playground, it will open into a playground, and there you select chat. Okay, and in chat select GPT 3.5. You will have this kind of a UI. Okay, in this UI there will be system. So this is the system where you need to tell what the GPT role it has to take. You can tell here, and then here in the user area you can provide the data set. So I have given the data set and I have given the prompt. Okay, and then I can ask the assistant to give me the reply by submitting it. But before giving the submit, ensure that your temperature is low, the setting temperature is low, or else the ChatGPT might make up fill up the things. Okay, if it is unable to answer, it will start filling up with its own information. Okay, so avoid keeping temperature at higher level for this data set kind of prompt engineering. And now let me first of all remove this. Okay, and let me submit. The moment I submit, what will happen is it will start creating the information. And since the temperature is low, every time I do this, I will get the same answer. Okay, there might be a little bit of a difference, but it will always end up with completed inference. Okay, because I have told in the prompt that at the end print completed inference. So it has understood, it has gone through the each questions, and then it has given me the output. However, I told you that I cannot give all the data set here. This is actually a part of the data set. Okay, if you see, this is starting from 26 and ending at 3801. Let me show you the full data set. The full data set is here. So it starts at 000101. It starts there and it ends at 928002. So it has more than almost 9,000, almost 8,600 rows in this. And how much I have taken here? In this place, I have taken less than 15 rows. Okay, less than 15 rows only I have used here. So above this, if I try, I can go up to 25 rows. Above that, ChatGPT will say that, okay, it will not provide the full response. That is what I was explaining here, right? You remember I was explaining the same thing here. Now, to avoid to work around this challenge, what we are going to do is, we are going to take this file, space_Titanic. You can find this file here. You can find this file in space_Titanic. Where it is? Yeah, here. You can find it in the GitHub repo only. You don't need to go anywhere. And you can read it using Python read option. If you are still not very comfortable with reading files and writing to them, there is a separate playlist. I showed you that playlist, right? You can come to this playlist. There is a video on Python playlist. So Python file management. So take a look at that. You will understand better. And then you can push for the next step. So I will read it. First of all, let me read and let me start working on the logic. The first and foremost logic, we have to create the prompt like this. So there should be a data set at the top and then there should be a prompt at the bottom. How are we going to do that? It's very simple in Python. Okay, if you understand the basics of Python lists and loops, and it is very simple. So what happens is that the file space._Titanic.csv has been read as list. So this is under the Python variable called data. Okay, this data is read as list, right? So what I mean to say is it is read as like this. So let me show you how it looks. It is series of list actually, and I can select any row by using this kind of number by indexing. So I have selected the first row here. In Python, everything starts with 0. So after that, I can use that and I can use string literal. This is called a string literal. When I use an F here, it is called a string literal. I can use that. I can form the data set here. So I have formed the data set from 1. Range is 1 to 5. So range is 1 to 5 here. So let me show you how it will look. Just for for the initial thing, it's better that I share how it looks, right? So this is how it will look. Okay. So I have taken the first four rows of the data set. So here. You can see the first 4 rows, 0, 1 to 0, 3. Sorry, 0, 1 to 0, 3. You see that, right? And the prompt is created using that. So if I execute this, the prompt will get created using that. And at the end of the prompt, I am asking list 5 statistical, factual, and inferential questions. I'm asking the questions to ChatGPT, okay? And it will list it. And then this is a supporting function to convert these chunks back into data frames. So you might actually look into that if you are curious. But the function that we need to really think about is extracting summary, okay? In extract summary, we have the function which actually takes the request content and also it takes the file name, okay? The role player is given by this role we got, right? This role. So this is data summarizer. So this role player is also given as an input. Organization and key is the API key and organization of OpenAI library. The point here is that the API, the ChatGPT API, will ask you for system, assistant, and user. You come to here, you see system, user, and assistant. In the same way, you need to create your prompt also. So in system, I am telling you are a data summarizer because I already gave that value. And so I am telling the assistant is replying. So this is an assistant reply, okay? And then after that, I need to give the request content. So this is all I am already coding into the function. You don't need to do anything. It is already coded in. One thing that is very important is to save the data in the file. Whatever data is coming out of the API, you have to save it in the file. So that is the file name that we are providing. This file name, you can change it. It need not be summary_tutorial. You can change it. So let me execute this function. And now I am going to use this function on, so I already created the prompt here. So this is the prompt variable and I have created the prompt and I have printed the prompt here also. Prompt made, you saw that, right? I'm going to send this. So I'm giving the API key, AI key, I'm giving the role and I'm giving the prompt here in the request content and I'm going to execute. So once I execute it, I will get the output like this, okay? So it contains the statistical, factual, and inferential question. What is the prompt that we sent? Take a look at the prompt once. So list 5 statistical, factual, and inferential questions. So it has listed that. Okay, so we have got the question based on the data set that we provided. Okay, this is all based on the data set. If you change it, so for an example, let me change it just to show you how it works. So instead of the first 5, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from 6. Okay, this will be there for your reference, and from here I'm going to take 6 to 11. Okay, I'm going to take this data set and here I'm going to add it. So once I execute this, the prompt will change from 6 to 11 and you see that, and here also it will change. Okay, and still I'm going to ask the same question, and now I'm going to send that new prompt. Okay, this is a new prompt that I'm going to send. Okay, and you will see that it will let me actually change it, inference to let me execute. Okay, and once I execute this, what will happen is it will go to ChatGPT API, it will get the feedback and it will store that value in the inference_to variable. Okay, and then it will have a different set of data. So take a look at this. So let me just copy this only. Okay, let us not copy everything. That will not be very easy for us to check. Okay, and I'm going to print the inference to. So I have got the inference. Okay, but in reality, let us see the earlier statistical questions. So this was the earlier statistical question with the first data set. So you see the question was different, average age of passengers, standard deviation, but here you see the questions are different. So based on the data set, the questions will be different. So that is what I wanted to explain to you. So ChatGPT will look at the data set and then create the questions. Okay, so let me revert it back to 1. So you will not see this when you are using the notebook. I will revert it back. So you will see only 1. Next, what will happen is, now you have the questions, we need to select the questions that we want. Okay, see, you can actually ask ChatGPT to answer all the questions also. Okay, then what is the point? You have to customize it, right? How are you going to customize it? The best way to customize is select the questions. Okay, so you split the reply that has come from ChatGPT and you are going to make it into a list like this. Okay, and the list can be divided further by using the index range. Like this index range, you can divide it further, and whichever index you want, you can take it. So there is no any question there. Also you can create your own list also by manually. You can do that also. I am going to take the list range 8 to 13. Okay, and I am going to create a string. So I will convert the list. So this list, this is actually a list basically. How will I know that it is a list? As usual, I have to type check. So just a minute. I have to click this. You will see that it is getting printed. If I use type around this, and if I execute it, it will come as list. Okay, and this question string. Now comes the customization part. So designing part. So I'm still going to use the same data set. The data set that I started from first row to fifth row, I'm using the same thing. However, instead of asking questions, I'm asking ChatGPT to give me the questions. I'm telling that answer the questions based on the question string. This one. Okay, this is the new prompt that I'm creating. And also, whenever you create a prompt, you can send it through this function and you can get the prompt token. Okay, ensure that the prompt token is not more than 3500. Okay, that will be the optimal way of working with this set of this prompt data. And you see that the new prompt has been created, but this time this is the question that I personally have selected and I have used it here. And then I am going to send that into the extract summary function, and I am asking ChatGPT to respond. Okay, and okay, before this I have already asked to give me the questions, right? This question. If you come back to the root folder where you are working, you will see there is a file called as summary_tutorial. So if you click that, this file will contain all the queries that you have sent till now. So the data set that we sent from 05 to 7, it is already here, and the questions also here. And the earlier data set that we sent from 01 to 04, that is also here. So all the data that we are collecting from the API is stored. So it is there for your future reference also. That is very important. And when I am going to execute this will also store it in the location called as summary_text. So the designed summary will be smaller in number, smaller in size, because we are only asking 5 questions and it will answer only 5 questions and it will end with completed design inference. Okay, that is how it will end. And so we have come to a conclusion where we can actually get the data set to be referred by ChatGPT, and we can ask ChatGPT to give us the question and answer the question. So we have come to this understanding, right? However, you might be wondering, okay, why should I do all this stuff? If ChatGPT can directly answer the statistical questions, why should I even design it? See, the point is that if you ask ChatGPT to do everything for you, it will do it, but it will do it in its own style. But how will you make it to work it for you, for your style, or for your companies, or for your organization style? So you have to structure it, right? And that is the point of designing the questions and giving it to ChatGPT and asking for the reply. So you understood the objective, correct? Next is that, okay, so all good. So if you want to test it out, okay, no, I am not going to accept your thought process. I will ask ChatGPT to directly give me the data. So you can ask ChatGPT to list 10 statistical, factual inferences. Okay, what will happen is ChatGPT will start providing you the data, and it will provide more data than you want, but how are you going to use it? So you have to still read through that and understand it, right? So why to go through that process when you can automate it? Okay, so this is the idea of designing. So designing has two advantages. You can structure it and then you can automate it. These are the advantages you get. Okay, so I hope I have convinced you, but now I have to tell you how to automate. So I have shown you how to do it manually, right? Now to automate. To automate, we have to use loops. Okay, to use loops, we have to understand the concept of range. In Python, we can use this function called as range, and we can give a number starting and ending number, and it will give us all the number in the middle. Okay, so by executing this, you will see that you can get all the number. And by using the for loop in Python, you can start looping on the data and also on your on the list that you want. Okay, there are two ways to do that, but we are going to use the looping on the range value. This point is that, okay, before that I will tell you something, just a minute. So if I do list range, you will see that it actually creates a list. Okay, so if I run if I put this range inside a list, it will create a list. So basically for loop is actually looping over a list, and this list is called as an iterable also sometimes, okay, or a generator. So range, if I actually do a type check on this, range is okay, this is coming as a range directly. So let me do a type check on list. I think it will come as a list. So here I cannot actually show you a generator, so forget it. Let me discuss that in some other time. What I wanted to tell you is that by using this range, so I can actually loop through the entire data set. Entire data set I can do it. So instead of using 5, if I say 550, it will loop through the 50 into 25. So it will loop almost 50 into 25 is, why to use our brain when we have computer? 50 multiplied by 25 is 1250 rows it will loop through. So if I have to loop through all the 8,600 all the 8,600 lines, then how many things I will need? So 8,600 divided by 25. So I will have to take the range of 344. So if I 343. So if I do this, then all my data set would have got looped through, and I would have created the prompts. Okay, and that prompt would have got stored into inference underscore request. So this particular cell is doing all that. Okay, so it is looping through the data set. It is creating the prompt, and the prompt is telling, okay, give me a 300-word answer to the following question. And it is giving the question string that we designed. See the question string that we designed, correct? Where it is? Yeah, this is the string that we designed. And it will attach the data set to the to this question string, and it will create the prompt. The prompt will look like this. So it will have a data set, and it will have the questions that we designed. Okay, and then it will ask for the answer. So this is how you actually start the automation process. So you have the prompts that you want to send to ChatGPT. Now next is you have to use something called as, okay, here I have used enumerate. Enumerate is a function that you can use it with for loop. Okay, so for index / inference in enumerate, and I am giving the inference request. This inference request is this inference request. So now this inference request will have, okay, I'm not going to use 343, that will be, let us take 34. Okay, so if I execute this, so it would have split the data, you see, 1 to 26, 26 to 51. So it goes up to 800 to 826. So it has split like this. And if I take the inference, say, let us take 30. So if I print it, you will see that it is taking from 789 to 811. You see that, right? The data set is different. So if I take 31, so the data set will be different. You see the starting and ending, right? And you will see the data question will be same. For all the data set, the question will be same. Question will not change. This is the reply that you want for all the data sets from ChatGPT. Okay, so question will remain same. And then once you can actually check the length also. So if you check the length, there is 33 inference requests, and all these requests we are going to use a for loop on this inference request, and we are going to send it to ChatGPT by using extract underscore summary. And once you execute this, please use only less number of calls. So don't use 34 or 10 or anything, just use 5. Okay, so that you can see how it works. Do not use 30 or 50 or whatever it is. Okay, it's very important that you use less numbers and check how it works. Okay, I'm just showing it to you for reference. And then if you execute this, what will happen is it will, so for an example, if I execute say from 2 to 4, so I am executing only one or two inferences. If I execute this, what will happen is it will update in my summary underscore tutorial also. So let us come here and let us scroll down. You will see that only questions are here. Okay, only questions are here, there are no answers. Okay, but now once I execute this, let me execute this, it will take a couple of seconds. Okay, once I execute this, the last reply, so there will be many executions, right? So if I ask for 5 requests, so if there are 5 requests in the inferences, then there will be 5 calls to this function. Every time this function is called, where is the function? Every time the function is called, this function is called, all the code in this will get executed, and then the file will get updated, and then also the data will be stored in the, where is it? Data will be stored in this variable. So if I execute this, so you will see that it is responding. And if you come to this file and if you refresh it, so you will see that all the responses. So you see the data set and you will see the answer. Okay, this is the answer. This is not the question. These are the answers. Okay, oh sorry, these are the answers. Yeah. So like this, you can actually get automated also. So we have come to the end of the discussion about how to implement this particular idea. Okay, the next important point is that practice. Okay, the point of sharing the code, the notebook, Jupyter notebook, etc., and setting up this environment and giving it to you is to make everybody become more comfortable with not just Python, but the automation activity, because only then we can do a lot with the technology that is coming up. We cannot do everything manually. Okay, we have to think in a very different way now, and everybody has to learn programming and start automating stuff, or else it is going to be very challenging for us. Okay, we can no more rely on using just the applications provided by others. Everybody has to start programming, no choice. Now that with the advent of artificial intelligence like ChatGPT, which can create like so much data. I was talking to you and it was creating all this data, right? And it was doing it without me doing anything. I was not typing anything. It was creating all this. And how to manage it? If you are going to do it manually, if you have to read everything by yourself, humanly it is not possible, right? So the best way how to handle this is to actually take the machine way by automating it. Okay, and that is the main intention of creating this video and sharing it with you guys. And if you like this content, do like this, do leave a like, and share this with your siblings, your family members, and your work colleagues, so that they will also be aware that what is possible. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos on this range of topics on ChatGPT and Python. You already saw my saw the YouTube channel, so you can check out this list of playlist of videos, and you can also learn more about ChatGPT here. Again, to reiterate, the main point is practicing. So take the code, try to break it, try to hack it, and try to see whether you can understand if you do something different from whatever I have done, and you can share it. And if you have any questions also, you can put it in the comment section in the video area. So in that way, everybody can learn. Okay, that is the important point, right? Everybody should learn. and everybody should master the art of programming and working with artificial intelligence, as well as with as a whole with the entire system, artificial intelligence system. So stay tuned, guys. Until the next video, practice, practice, practice. See you guys. Have a nice time.